making the money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late. Yeah, Payneful Profits to help you seek change. And you just wanna get paid. Yeah, tired of making no money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late. Payneful Profits to help you seek change. Yeah, cut the show and just listen. You wanna feel empowered by making money decisions. Residual by the hours can get you a better living. Bitch at the check, you knowing it could be different. You know.
Welcome to this episode of Payneful Profits. I'm your host, Payne, a certified financial planner. We talk about getting to the bag in various ways. Today, we're going to talk about the housing market. It's booming. A question I get all the time, should I pull equity out of my house? My house is worth a lot more than what it was a few years ago. Should I take that money and invest? Should I do something with it? I don't know. What I do know, you might not know this, me and my wife was actually on House Hunters. It didn't air, probably a good thing now, but we was on there. So we talk about house. We talk about the worth of a house. Is it good to take out equity or bad? Let's make some Payneful Profits together, y'all. Enjoy the conversation.
Wealthy is having $1.9 million or more. That's kind of like the, like for Americans, the average household, so have and have-nots, right, is $97,000. So it's huge the disconnect between.
Wait. The average household what?
The average household net worth is $97,000.
If you're wealthy.
No, that's the average. That's the average. So all the have and have-nots, the average.
Is this black or?
Oh, everybody.
I thought it'd be more than that.
Yeah.
I thought it was less than that.
Yeah.
Well, when he put in white people, I thought it was gonna be more.
Yeah. So that's have and have not. So that's people in San Francisco who, you rent a condo and it's $5,000 because the cost of living is crazy. And that's people in Mississippi where, you can make $26,000 a year and live like a king someplace, right? That's that have and have nots.
So the average medium home income is $97,000?
Net worth, $97,000.
Net worth is $97,000.
Yeah, and then net worth means so if I got like a $200,000 house, but my mortgage is $100,000, it's only really $100,000.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
basically the equity.
So yeah.
Okay.
So what that also says is most people don't invest their money. Most people are house rich because of the value of the house, right? But if the average house is about $250,000, and if I owe $100,000, that means really I'm worth $150,000, right? So a lot of people don't invest, which is crazy to think about.
Let me ask you this: do you think?
Are you taking right now? Please stay you are. Okay.
Do you think, with most people having equity in their homes right now, do you think we should take some of the money out and invest it? Take some of the equity out and invest?
Worst thing you can do.
Oh my God,
The worst thing,
way!
No, that's the worst thing you can do.
No way!
No. Why create debt?
But if you're investing it and you're going to make money, how is that going to... I'm the expert.
Is it guaranteed?
Nothing's guaranteed.
That's my point.
But even if I'm taking my liquid, it's not guaranteed.
And there's good debt and bad debt.
It is good.
Debt is the one thing you're gonna have with you the rest of your life. I don't care who you are.
It is good debt, and I leverage that through my business, through the other businesses that I own. I leverage that. But no, you do not want to pull money out of your house to do an investment. I would strongly recommend that. That's just me. Now you ask somebody else, they may say something different. But why create more bills, especially if we have a recession coming over the next 6 to 12 months? No way. I would recommend it.
So when you invest, then you're saying you should always use your liquid funds.
Yeah, your liquid funds now, you can do what you call margin. So a person can do a margin against their investments, where you're taking a loan against your actual investments. So let's say I have $100,000. Usually I can do in between 25 to 50% of a loan against my own money. So let's say it's 50% of $50,000. So then I can do a loan of $50,000 against my investments, and I can do it that way, right? So then, since it's tied to your investments, if your investments are going up, you're actually paying down, right, the interest on that margin loan. So let's say my margin loan is 6%, right? So for every $100, I'm paying whatever financial institution $6. And let's say my investments are making 10%, so I'm making $10.
Yeah.
So if I'm making $10 and I'm paying you $6, then I'm making $4.
So you
after
still
I
make
pay you.
$4.
Right. But that's different because it's my money. My investment money, we know that, it's up and down, right? But it's your house. You know the value of your house goes up and down. Like this is your house.
I just feel like you're getting ready to make a good point. What were you gonna say? I can feel it. I feel that Terrence coming out.
Risk reward. If I had $100,000 worth of equity in my house and I chose to borrow against it, right? Let's say my interest rate on the house is 3%. I'm winning because if I go to the bank or borrow the money from somewhere else, the interest rate is going to be higher. The other thing is, are you saying you wouldn't recommend something like that because of the risk that it puts you in?
The risk of your house, right?
Okay.
So typically, unless you rocking and rolling with your investments, like a person like me, right, is that your biggest asset is your house, right? So by us taking money out of our house and having that put at risk, what if that investment doesn't work? What if I get laid off? Now I owe more money on my house than what I did. Now I can't pay my house. So either I got to go get a same-day cashy loan, right, that's going to charge me 20-30% interest, or I'm going to lose my house. So from a risk standpoint, I would never recommend a person take that type of risk.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that does make sense. And I guess I was thinking not take out all of it, maybe a small portion of it. But I get what you're saying. Why take the risk on what is your biggest asset?
Yeah.
Why put that at risk?
Yeah. And I think life is about risk. But you have good risk, bad risk, you have calculated risk, right? So I have clients that are business owners. They have businesses. Some invest more money in their business. Some take money out their business and invest in other things to have other businesses grow. That's a calculated risk, right? But with my mortgage, I don't think that's calculated.
Yeah.
Because again, you have an asset. I mean, if you get kicked out your house, that's more problems that happen. That's more expenses that you have. So no. Question for you guys though, right? From a wealth standpoint, would you guys rather be rich and famous, or right? You rather be anonymous and wealthy?
Ladies first.
I'm not, what did you say?
Anonymous, like don't nobody know you, but you.
I don't want anybody to know me, and I want to be wealthy.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. What's wealth to you? If you had a number.
If I just had to put a number out there, I would feel, I'm confident saying I'm wealthy if I had $1 million.
Okay. All right. What about you two?
Well, I'm wealthy if I have $1 billion. But I think I would choose rich and wealthy.
Rich and famous, you mean?
Rich and famous.
And why?
Well, I said it right first. I understand the favor of name. I understand businesses are built, platforms are built through name. Ralph Lauren, Louis Vuitton. These are names, Jordan Brand. These names build platforms that gives you access. And I got bread too. I'm rich. But I think Erica said something earlier. I think it depends too where I am in life.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, rich and famous.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. What is the whole point of you want to be rich and famous is to build a brand. And you're wanting to build the brand to get money, or is that the whole purpose of building the brand? Because if you're... No? Okay.
It's not about money. It's more so about influence.
Gotcha.
Influence puts you in a position you can influence laws, you can influence government, systems, education. But that influence could come through being wealthy too. Because what does Warren Buffett do?
Right.
Well, I think about somebody like Al Heyman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Al Heyman is wealthy. If he walks through this door right now, I have no idea who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's the richest person in the room, probably in every single room. Like, I would love to be that. Don't nobody know him, but he has all the influence.
Yeah.
Boxing, Ain't nobody throwing no punches. Ain't nobody booking nothing unless Al Hammond has his hand in it. Al Hammond used to do all the concerts for Prince. He did the Janet Jackson tours. A lot of the big tours now, Al Hammond has his footprint on it.
Right.
But you have no idea. That's power right there.
Who doesn't have an idea? Those in the industry or us that stand on the outside?
I'd probably say 98, 99% of people, they have no idea who Al Hammond is. Not at all.
Now, that kind of wealth I would love.
Yeah.
I would take that over being rich and famous.
Yeah. Or you have like a Don King, right? Everybody know Don King is,
Yeah.
right? Have his flags, got his hair, you know, he's rich,
Right.
famous, but he ain't wealthy like Al Hammond.
Okay, but I know one person who is wealthy, rich, and famous. Elon Musk. And I know you love Tesla, so
Yeah, I
tell
got
me
my
what's
Tesla.
your take on Mr. Musk? I think he's obnoxiously, ridiculously brilliant.
Oh, yeah. He's one of a kind.
Yeah.
I have a problem with his kids now.
Yes, he is.
Oh, big problem with his kids. Big problem with his kids. Now, I love Elon Musk. Like, from an innovation standpoint, how he makes business, how he maneuvers business, how he's able to engineer things. He could take one thing in one supply line chain and make it way more efficient to make more money, save more money. Nobody like him. And his influence, right?
It's
like
ridiculous.
think about Dogecoin. I mean,
Yes.
he took a coin of a dog, right, and through his influence had everybody buy it like it was going to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
They went on Saturday Night Live, talked about it, and it went down like crazy.
Yeah.
So the conspiracy theories is that he sold out of his,
Yeah.
and then it went down like crazy. But that's influence, man. What he's doing with Tesla, I mean, it's influence.
Yeah.
So it's nobody like Elon Musk whatsoever. I mean, he's definitely one of a kind.
So speaking of Tesla, what do you think about electric cars versus non-electric cars? Because I've been in a Tesla. It scares the crap out of me.
Really? Why?
Because I need a knob. I feel like if everything is a computer, computers break. I mean, I need to be able to do what I need to do without it just being a computer system.
Yeah, nah, it's the future. And from a money standpoint, so with electric cars, you have no transmission, no engine. I know with the Tesla, it has like this car where you get into braking, like in a go-kart, and you drive in, and then you kind of put your foot off the pedal and it slows down.
Right.
That's what that does. So no brake pads. So let's say a car costs $50,000. By you get an electric car, you're going to save about $10,000 off the top of maintenance over 5 years. So now instead of a $50,000 car, you're really buying a $40,000 car. No gas at all, right? No gas. Gas is crazy right now. We don't got to worry about that.
This is
So
true.
from a savings standpoint, you save so much money, and also like the resale, right? Now, of course, as you know, in the car business, used cars definitely are worth a lot more resale than what they used to be. But an electric car, the resale value is usually 80 to 85%.
Absolutely.
So if I buy a $100,000 Tesla now, 5 years from now, I can sell it for $85,000, right? Risk reward, right? You can't beat it. So it's the future.
Absolutely.
So, is it better to? What was your question? To buy an electric car
Versus a gas car.
versus a gas car? And see, I couldn't answer that because I've only had a gas car, so I don't know. I don't truly know outside of reading and listening to you the true value of having an electric car.
I don't think it is really a true value that you can put a number on, because gas, you pay for it. From an energy standpoint, gas hurts the environment, right? So it's way more factors with value. But just money in your pockets, out of your pockets, I believe an electric car is a better investment. It holds its value more. If you drive a car off the car lot, 5 years from now, the car ain't gonna be worth what you drove it off. It's gonna be half of that.
Yeah.
If I buy a $50,000 car and sell it in 5 years, it might be $20,000.
Yeah.
If I buy a $50,000 Tesla and sell it in 5 years, I might get $45,000 back. So from a value standpoint, of resale value, the better investment would be an electric car.
Don't drive nowhere where they don't have a charge station, all right?
Okay.
Well, that don't matter. So I have a charging station in my garage. I mean, you could just
What do you mean that it doesn't matter?
because you can put it in your garage. I mean, so for $250, you can change a converter from a like a regular 2-prong converter to one of those wash and dry converters. I charge once a week in my garage. It costs like $10. I got solar panels at my house too, so that helps. So it might cost you maybe $20 to charge.
But how long does that charge last?
It depends. So now, because of technology and because of people investing in businesses, they now have cars that go 350, 400 miles, right? So you might charge once a week. You might charge once every other week. If you charge once a week, that's $80 a month. How much you spend to fill up a tank of gas right now?
$80 a week.
Right. That's good.
Hey, let me get 1,000 on 5.
So think about that.
It's funny and sad.
It's real, man.
1,000 off, that's crazy. Yeah, that's $250 a month, right? And that's $3,000 a year. Over 5 years, that's $15,000.
So you think it's better to invest in an electric car?
Oh, of course. All day.
You know what? Real talk. I might do that.
I don't think we're gonna have a choice.
Yeah.
Next year or two, they're all gonna be electric.
Yeah. You know what would be the best bag right now to get is a company that has charging stations.
Yes.
Or if you do real estate, you own property that has a charging station on it, and you can lease out the land and the equipment to that company. That would be the play from the investment standpoint.
That's good.
That's good.
So we need to get our coins together then, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
I have a question for y'all. What's wealthy? What number is wealthy? So you have to close your eyes and say, okay, this is what it takes to be wealthy. What would that be?
I think you asked me something similar to that earlier. I'd say $1 million.
$1 million. What about you, Tim?
A billion.
Nah, man. So wealthy is $1.9 million. Right? That's wealth. It's crazy because like the average household net worth, so the have and have-nots, the rich, not rich, poor, not poor, is $97,000. So it's crazy because I know, right? It's crazy. Well, that includes your house too, right? But it's crazy because we watch the internet. We do these get-rich schemes. We're gonna make millions and millions and millions of dollars. I mean, you're wasting your time. If you live just within your means, save, invest, don't spend, you're good. But something about us in some way would trigger that. We just want to make all the money in the world, just make bad decisions. But yeah, the wealth is $2 million. I mean, it's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
But if you look at it that way,
It's attainable.
yeah, very attainable.
Maybe not very.
What are the advantages? What's the advantage of being rich versus wealthy?
Being rich
And wealthy.
and wealthy.
Versus being wealthy.
Versus being wealthy. Well, rich usually means your pocket more, right? If a person's rich, they're still, in my opinion, moving and shaking, building their business. So if you're building your business to become wealthy, you probably have more connections. Now, you might not be as connected because a person who's wealthy can pick up the phone and call anybody.
Right.
But you're building your connections, so some of those connections might fall through. Right, but I would think a person rich is moving and shaking more, doing more things, has more opportunities. A person wealthy, you just pick up the phone, I need this done, it's done. So you probably get complacent too, right? If everybody says yes, you have yes men and women around you all the time, you probably get complacent when you're wealthy.
So, do you have to be rich to eventually become wealthy? Can you skip over a step?
Unless you hit the lottery.
Hit the lottery.
Yeah, but I mean, in my opinion, you guys might differ, but my opinion is that you get rich, and as you get richer, you become wealthy.
Yeah.
But then what is rich though, right? I mean, if you ask an 18-year-old, a person driving a Mercedes-Benz is rich. Right? You ask a 36-year-old, a person with a Maybach is rich. You ask a 45-year-old, a person with 2 houses is rich. So it just depends.
It's all relative.
Relative.
Yeah.
But the point is though, we all have this grand scheme of what rich and what wealthy is. Really, again, $2 million is a lot of money, but you don't have to waste your money. You don't have to do bad investments. You don't have to put yourself in a bad situation. You don't have to take a loan against your house to invest in something that's going to possibly lose you all your money and your house to become rich. We're wealthy. You just put your money in, invest, do a 401k at your job, slowly but surely invest and have your money grow the right way, not the risky way, so that you can be rich and wealthy one day. I call that paying for profits, y'all.
So spend within your means.
Spend within your means.
Yeah, I think it means basically. That's hard.
Because you know, especially the African American community, we do not buy and purchase because of money we have or don't have. We buy and purchase to impress.
Always.
So because we're trying to make an indelible impression on something or someone, we spend what we have. You got red bottom shoes, Gucci belts, and probably don't have life insurance.
Yeah.
And you gotta, do a GoFundMe to bury it. And I think if we live within our means and everybody say what they can where they are,
Yeah.
and stop comparing yourself to other people.
That's
Of course, you'll get richer quicker, which will make you wealthier faster.
I think it's just about balance. I think you can have it all. Why can't you have a bag? Why you can't have one Gucci belt? You only need 5. Get your insurance policy. Make sure you got homeowners insurance. Get a bag too. It's just about balance, and I think we're off balance with that.
Always. Get
Yeah.
rich quick too. That's horrible in our community. That's horrible just with life in general, especially like you go to YouTube, go to social media. There's no checks and balances, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't know if that person driving that car is a rented, is a lease, is a own, is it yours. Like we don't know, right?
It's true.
A person.
So true.
I made all this money doing whatever. You don't know. It's no checks and balances.
Right.
So when I talk to clients and they come with, hey, I heard this, I heard that. Chill out.
Exactly.
Chill out.
Because you don't
Stick
know the
to the
whole
script.
story.
Yeah, you don't know the whole story.
Yeah.
Stick to the script. Live beyond your means. Again, you will be rich. You will be wealthy. And maybe you won't be wealthy. But if you're living with your means, and you're able to rock and roll, pay your bills, do good for family, I think that's wealthy. In my opinion. Wealthy for yourself, right? You don't got to be like everybody else. Be yourself.
There you go.
So it takes a certain level of confidence and self-awareness to live within your means. Because in order to stay there, you have to be able to overcome the obstacles of being tempted
Yes.
to measure up to what society says you or your neighbor.
Social media.
Social media,
Yeah.
which that stuff on social media, it's not real.
It's not.
I mean, people aren't posting their pitfalls. They're posting successes. They're not posting the process. And I think if more people in our community had someone like you to be able to instruct them and guide them in finance, when to invest, when not to, what decisions we should make, I believe we could be wealthier faster too. The information from us has been hidden. We haven't had access.
You're right. It's the access. It's the knowledge. It's the education.
It's trust too. Like you have to trust a person. I think in our community, is a person that looks like us for some time and for whatever reason, we won't trust him or her. We'll trust a person that does not look like us.
Yes.
And we got to get around it. I mean, if the person has your messages at heart, his or her actions, what he or she is doing to help you, it'll show in the long haul. But you have to have trust though. You shouldn't have a stereotype of what a financial advisor is. I've been practicing for 15 years. I have over 1,000 clients. It's hundreds of million dollars of assets. If I walk into a room, people might not trust me or might not think I do what I do because what I look like, because they have a stereotype.
That's
so
right.
we got to get
Would
around
you
it.
dress like that if you walked in the room?
So I don't have the gold buttons. I might have some loafers on, but maybe a tie.
So people that knows what that is would trust you.
Rich people, I think, knows it is. Trust me. People that don't know what I'm wearing, what shoes I'm wearing, this, that, next, they be like, what is that? Gotcha. So, different sorts of different folks.
Well, I think we should touch on that next time. Does dress make a difference?
Ooh, that's a great segue for next show.
Absolutely.
Dress for success.
Yeah.
And that, my friend, is Payneful Profits.
Welcome back to the show Payneful Profits with your host, Mario Payne. Now, if you go to a HBCU like me, does that look bad on your resume? Do you not get the employment that you want because you went to a HBCU? Well, Jared, who went to Bethune-Cookman, is going to let you know. It's crazy because he went to a PWI, played football, then Bethune-Cookman and played football as he graduated. So he's going to kind of tell us about what people look at in his resume as he went through the hiring process. And now with the startup, does that help him going to an HBCU from a networking standpoint? Does it help him more going to a PWI? We don't know, but tune in to find out. Peace.
A bit different compared to us, a little bit different. Ricky Bobby, right? If you're second in class, but Jared, tell us about yourself, man. Introduce yourself. Tell us about your background.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, Mario T. Really appreciate it. From Jacksonville, met Mario actually through working with him back in 2010. HBCU alumni, Bethune-Cookman University, class of 09. So actually, Bethune was actually my second school. I actually went to a school in South Carolina and played football, then transferred down to BCC at the time. Now they call it BCU to play football. But originally from Jacksonville, and been here pretty much off and on my whole life. Yeah.
Can we get back to that name change? Because I know it in BCC as well. What happened with BCU?
It had something to do with accreditation from what they told us, right? Okay. At the time, for us to get accredited again, certification, you had to go to a university. At the time, it was a college back then. Could have been something with funding from the state. Who knows? It's still a private university. I'm not sure if we're still getting funding from the state. I don't think we are. But from what they told us, has something to do with accreditation.
Was it a lot of rebranding behind that? It
was. Oh, okay. From uniforms to merchandise, just from walking around and just saying BCC. I mean, people say, no, it's BCU now, BCU.
So is that like an old school thing though? If you say
it is old school.
It's like you went here
Yeah. Well, you want a BCC, you BCU. I was at BCC. Yeah.
Okay, that's dope.
So how's that process? Y'all being private, so y'all didn't get no funding from the state of Florida?
I do know it's more of, volunteers, local churches, fundraising. And just look at the facilities compared to FAMU, our rival. They had great facilities from weight rooms to, dorms, cafeteria. You go to us, it's still like it's 1960s. Some dorms we had mold. We couldn't stay there when we first got there, right? We had to move to different dorms because they had to clear out the mold, all based on funding. If we had money, I don't think that would have been an issue. Well, money from the state, let's say that.
What's your alumni impact like? Celebrities giving back or any kind of city influence? Even the Daytona 500 having some kind of sponsorship.
Yeah, we did. As far as alumni giving back, Shaq's mother actually graduated from there.
Okay.
So I know he made a big donation on that front. I know we had a couple guys who played football, made donations. But as far as making a difference where, millions and millions of dollars, I haven't seen that. Not that I know. Not, especially not when I was there.
Who is y'all biggest alumni or y'all most famous alumni?
Probably, it depends what age you are, right? But for everybody, it will probably be our founder. Our founder was, I would say our biggest alumni. She founded the school, but she was very involved in politics. At the time, the Roosevelts were in office, so she was involved with them. So I would say that would be our person that will be a famous alumni. Yeah.
Miss Bethune's story, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Even today, diversity-wise, we don't have it as good as other races. It's life. It is what it is. But back then, kind of going what they went through in our community, man, the racism that happened, the doors being shut in your face, man. It took a lot to do what she did and to start a school. Who does that? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's crazy, man. But how is the city? So I know it's Tallahassee. So is Tallahassee mixed, African American, Caucasian, more Caucasian? Is it really?
So Daytona, Daytona is a spring break city, right? Great weather, right? Access 5 minutes from the beach to the campus. Wow. As far as dynamics, the diversity, I would say it's really 50-50, black and white. Of course, just like any city, you have your inner city. You have your well-off that lives in the coastal and on the beaches. There's really no crime. I wouldn't say too much crime. It's a small city.
So
about 45 minutes out from Orlando, an hour away from Jacksonville. So
the school's not in the hood?
Well, I would say most every HBCU is in the hood, but what's your definition? What's your definition of the hood? All right, you can walk down the street, nobody's going to rob you, right? Nothing along those lines. Not that I experienced, right? But is it in the hood? Yeah.
So when I say hood, I mean an area that hasn't been gentrified.
Yeah, I would say yes to that question. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So the average, I would say, the average home price even to this day is around $150,000. Yeah, around 150,000. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that because Mario, I don't know if you paid attention to TSU surroundings. Yeah, I don't know if you call it the hood no more, bro. Like they building up around TSU, man. I don't know if you can say TSU in the hood no more because Nashville taking off. So thought I asked that. You say it's by the beach, but I'm like, most HBCUs are kind of in like those kind of areas. And I hate to like kind of say that, but I mean, it's kind of true, but I mean, that don't necessarily mean that's what come out of there though,
Correct.
To be kind of the circumstances that it be.
Yeah. Now, definitely, if we had our crystal ball when we was in school, man, and bought some property around the campus, man, we'd definitely be
man, think about that. Think about how we'd have put our money together with a tailgate thing, and like everybody brought some money to the pot. We put some money down on something close to the campus. Man, that's crazy, man.
Even think about if our parents told us how to do that, right?
Yeah.
It's a generational thing. It's our parents, and that's the difference between HBCUs. You look at other universities, especially bigger universities, they have parents who taught them and teach their kids, and it keeps going on and on and on.
Let me tell you what I heard today. This Indian guy I work with. So this show is about culture, right? So their culture, he said his son wanted to go to Chapel Hill, but what he was going to do to beat the system and not pay out of state, he's in real estate. He's going to buy a home in the area, buy the school, and then put it in his son's name. He's going to get all this crazy equity from the house. Then a year later, he can enroll in the school with that address, and now he don't have out-of-state tuition. But he also owns a home now. And when he moves out, when he graduates, it's his home. So now he rents it out. So he will forever have income. And if that property takes off, he can sell it and walk away with a crazy lump sum. Like, I'm like,
think about that, right? Just think
exactly
about
like, imagine if we were in that situation at 20 years ago. It's like, but thinking about that situation too is like, does that have an impact on like the kid? Like we kind of had to get it out the mud. Like we're at an age now where we're kind of just now getting heavily involved in our careers and making the money we want to make. But it's like he's setting this kid up to make crazy money at 21.
Yeah.
And he don't even have an employer at this point. He just got property in his name. He could take the equity out and do whatever he wants to do with it. And it's just like, wow. I'm like, this is crazy, man. Like we really have to educate our kids and our siblings. And my nephew just enrolled at Tennessee State, and it's just like I'm telling him everything that he needs to know and he should be doing, because I'm like, Nashville's not what it was when we were in school. So take advantage of that. And, don't just graduate and leave the city. Like Nashville has a lot to offer at this point. So it's like, I'm just kind of giving him all these resources. I'm like, man, I got fraternity brothers there, best friends there. Like you don't have to want for nothing. And, I'm telling him to do all these things and explore as if, when we were in school, we were just trying to figure it out and just trying to pass and get through it, So it's just like you said, man, that generational cycle has to be broken, and we have to educate the young ones and hope that they stick to that and take that knowledge and, use it.
Yeah. So I know you talked about your football days. So after you left your school in South Carolina, what made you pick HBCU and specifically Bethune-Cookman?
My father played with the head coach and his brother. At the time, it was a guy named Alvin Wyatt. Played with him in high school. So, I could have went to South Florida. I could have went to UCF. Decided to go to Cookman. just because I knew the coaches. Very different experience coming from, keep in mind, I went to an all-white high school, right? Played football, right? Then going to pretty much an all-white college in South Carolina, then coming to Bethune-Cookman, which was nothing but black folks. I mean, it was nothing like nothing but black folks, and they were hood. It was ghetto, right? It was hood, so it was different from me, right? I would go to class in gym shorts, t-shirts, and a ball cap, and I'm going to class. But these people are actually really getting dressed like they're going out to
HBCU.
Yeah. So that was different for me. That was different for me. So I had something to get used to on that front. Also, when it came to financial aid, at my old school, financial aid, it was there. First day, it was there. At Cookman, you had to wait. It was at times where people had to bring their, I'm going to get kicked out of my apartment, eviction, and say, hey, man, give me my money.
At the deadline.
Because I got to pay this money back, not you. Why are you holding my money?
Yeah.
Right? So that was something I had to get used to. But besides that, I learned, I met a lot of good friends there. A lot of lifelong friends now. So a lot of good friends that I met there. My dad's friend went coaching there at the time. And he said, hey, man, just come down here. We'll take care of you. And we can kind of go and see what happens from there.
That's interesting. So talking about the classes, like, was you ever purged or was you ever kicked out of your classes? I mean, I'm pretty sure playing football, like they want to make sure you didn't get purged, but like,
So I wasn't purged again. At Cookman, again, we're talking about HBCU in Florida, so they're going to make sure that everything's paid for before you even register. We're not going to even give you a chance to be purged or get out, right? So you have to like 2 days, 48 hours. If you're financial aid, it didn't have to be your fault, right? Hey, the money just didn't hit yet. It's going to hit in 24 hours. Doesn't matter. You have to re-register the class. You better hope it's not filled, right?
Exactly.
So, it wasn't nothing along those lines. They want to make sure they had the money before you can even register for classes.
Yeah.
So that was a different thing, because at my other school, man, they're fine. We'll get our money. Don't worry about it. Just go to class and get your education. HBCU, they want their money up front, especially for a private HBCU. I mean, keep in mind, we didn't have state funding, so they needed the money. With all due respect, right? I get it.
We've been seeing, like, from when we graduated from TSU to now, like, how big state funding is. Like, a lot of the stuff that they got going on at TSU, a lot of the renovations, a lot of remodeling they done. It wasn't done when we was in school, but once you have state funding coming along, it definitely helps.
It's only 2 schools in DC that get $100 million plus a year, and it's a school called Gallaudet University. It's a school for heavily deaf people, and Howard University.
Yeah.
And I worked in finance, and it was actually pretty humbling when I saw every year, based on enrollment, Howard University was waiting on this $50 million check to hit, because if it didn't, they was in the red. And I'm like, is this how HBCUs operate? It's like you got all these students paying tuition, but the thing is, students ain't paying tuition. And I was telling Mario last time, I said the president even said students would stop him on the yard and ask him certain questions about, the dorms and the buildings, but they got on Louis Vuitton backpacks and red bottom sneakers. Oh, yeah. He like, hold on, like, you talking about...
And that's the thing, T, I don't mean to cut you off, but that's the thing that was hard for me to understand, coming from a pretty much an all-white university to there. It's like, guys, we're in college. We're in college. You guys got, and keep in mind, I was going from, school with guys from Miami. At the time, they had Monte Carlos or 28s, lime green cars, Lamborghini doors. Hey, bro, you're in college. Where you get this money from?
Hey, listen, we saw all that flip-flop paint job cars on 26s.
Yeah. Where you get this money from?
Suburban.
Yeah. But that refund check. I mean, imagine if I just would save my refund checks in 3 or 4 years I was there and invest that money now. You're talking about $4,000-$5,000 here. Yeah. $20,000 20 years ago or whatever it was, 15 years ago, right? Unreal.
You could have bought you some property across the street from Bethune-Cookman.
Man, that's what I should have did with my refund checks. You had a big transition there as well. And I wanted to ask you some questions about, Mario's kind of saying, why did you choose it? I mean, did playing time have anything to do with it? Like, you were like,
so
guaranteed the spot?
I wasn't guaranteed the spot. But keep in mind, I played defensive back. So at the time, we had a guy named Rasheed Mathis who got drafted by Jaguars, who was pretty good. We also got a guy named Nick Collins who played for Green Bay. In fact, he had an interception in the Super Bowl when they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, played for Green Bay. So I played defensive back. So I said, hey, if I go to Cookman, we know we're producing defensive backs, right? Go there, play man coverage. That was my thing, playing man coverage, right? I didn't like playing zone. Let me play man on man, press coverage. But that's a main reason why I went there. The difference, I would say, between HBCUs and major colleges, the only difference is the size of the linemen. But when I come to athletes, running backs, receivers, athletic ability, these boys can play.
Lamar Jackson times 25, right?
Yeah, I would say these boys can play. They might not have the size because they don't have the weight room program, they don't have the nutrition program, but you talking about raw athletes, pure athletes, oh yeah, they're there. And that surprised me. That really surprised me. I'm thinking I'm going here, coming from D1 school, playing press coverage, a guy who's, 5'11", 175. You're not getting up the line on me, bro. I got you. Boy, did it move. I was like, Jesus. Boys can run. These boys can
crazy.
Yeah, so what breed those guys, man? They breed those guys. I watched this thing on ESPN, and the guys in Florida chase chickens through the mud.
Yeah. That's down in Belglade and Pahokee, all those.
Yeah, and I didn't know that was like a thing. And then when I started thinking about all the guys coming out of Florida playing in the NFL, like Chris Johnson's, when he broke the records. CJ2K, all these guys out of Florida, it's like they were super fast guys, but super small, maybe 175 pounds with the equipment on.
With the equipment on.
Payne falling off of them,
let's look at AB. Yeah, AB, Chad Johnson. These boys not big, but they can run routes. They're quick on their feet. Yeah. And that's what it's all about, being quick on your feet. And me coming from bigger school, I'm about size, you ain't gonna get up the line, but these boys can run and move. Yeah, so that was very different for me, that experience.
I know you spent a little bit of time in the league. So what was the best wide receiver you ever went against?
I would say a guy named Mike Sims Walker. Mike Sims Walker came out of UCF. I actually played for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
For a while. I got drafted, I think, the third round. And he had good size to him. He had pretty good size to him. I would say he would use his size, especially try to press man him in his routes. He was actually pretty good at that. So I would say Mike Sims Walker.
What are some things that you learned from an HBCU standpoint that kind of helps you now in your day-to-day life with the company that you're with?
Yeah, one thing I would say I learned from HBCU is that, don't be ashamed of who you are, right? Because, working in corporate America, keep in mind, I work in not only finance, but finance technology, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not too many people who look like me. So when I'm on Zoom calls all the time, especially when I first got into sales, right? I didn't even want to show my camera. I didn't want to give them the ability to say, hey, this is a black man on the phone. So, because, I didn't know how they'll take that, right? I didn't know how they'll take that, right? They want to trust me or what the case may be. So one thing I learned from HBC, be who you are. If they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't.
Damn right.
It is what it is, man. Yep. You can't control that. Trust God to handle that, and you just do what you can do. We didn't have the resources like that. Our weight room wasn't that great, man. I mean, we doing warm-ups on the parking lot. I mean, I used to run track as well. We had to use Daytona Beach Mainland that Vince Carter actually went to. He actually built a new school out there. We had to use their track for track practice.
You had to use a high school track.
Yeah, the same high school that Vince Carter went to. He has a statue outside his high school.
Hey, that is a reverse 360 going.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we had to go to his high school and use his track.
Is his arm in the rim on that joint?
No. He should have done it. He paid all that money for that school. He should have done it.
Like, what's the culture like? Because I mean, we could talk about TSU culture, and like you said, the whole fashion sense, and like, is it sports heavy? Is it band heavy? Like, what's the culture like?
Yeah, great question. I would say it's more sports heavy. Just being from Florida, football is king down here, right? Definitely. It is music, right? The band as well. It's a funny. I had a funny story there because, again, coming from a bigger college, my parents would come to the game. And at other colleges, halftime, people go up, use the restroom, get something to eat.
No, sir, HBCU.
Yeah, my daddy got up to use the restroom. He said people look at him like they finna swing on him. He's trying to use the restroom during halftime.
So that's time to go to the concession stand at HBCU game. Halftime.
Right. Yeah. So it was, I would say, football heavy, very sports oriented, and also the band is a major thing as well, especially during Florida Classic. During that whole time, during football season, that's definitely a big thing there.
can you appreciate what Deion is doing at Jackson State, considering he's changing everything? He's getting them a new stadium built. He's bringing exposure. They got like 5, 6 uniforms, 8 helmets. Like, he's killing it for them. They're our rival, coincidentally, but I mean, they so big that he basically said we played them annually, Southern Heritage Classic, Memphis, Tennessee, Mutual Field. He don't want to play us no more because he's like, this ain't getting my boys exposure they need. I need to go play these big D1 schools so these boys can play level up. And I mean, it's just like, wow, like hats off to what he's doing, man. He's changing the landscape of HBCUs for sure. What you think about that?
Hey, he is. He said the same thing about we're actually playing them in the Jaguar Stadium this year. And he said, the first thing he said, how many people at Cookman games? Why are we playing these? Why are we playing these people? And I respect that. You're Deion. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think nobody else could have done that because Deion Sanders he carries that weight.
Prime time, man.
It's prime time.
Yeah.
Nobody else could have done that, right? And I respect him for that. I just wish it can carry over to the other schools as well, right? Because he's getting his boys all that attention. Scouts are coming. Right. Well, they're doing it for FAMU, TSU, right? Grambling State Southern, right? BCU. Are they doing it there? I don't think so.
And we got Eddie George as our coach.
Yeah,
we don't got the number one recruit coming to TSU.
Correct.
Yeah, it's like Eddie George. I mean, this dude, I think he won. Didn't he
won the Heisman?
Yeah,
don't respect Ohio State like that, man. Diddy, he ain't won the Heisman, man. Come on now. It's in Nashville too, so I know. Jackson State is in like a small town.
Yeah,
but recruits are going there. Why are they going there? Because of Deion.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Deion, I don't think those recruits will go there.
Nah,
I really don't think so.
They getting the NIL money now, man. It was like perfect. Yeah. It almost like he knew this was down the pike because it's like he took the job and like, all right, I just got to coach for like 1 or 2 years. This NIL money gonna come. So now the boys, you can go to Alabama, you can go to Jackson State. You're gonna get the bag. This doesn't matter what you want to what coach you want to be a part of. Nick Saban won several championships, but Deion, he gonna get you a Porsche dealership, NIL, and you're around your people and you're in the culture. So it's like, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that all day. But now he leveling up with the situation. Like Saban was mad. Saban made the comment. I know he paid that boy $1 million, and Deion like, man, we ain't paying our guys. Like you could all people, boys. Saban jealous, man. The HBCU's coming. They coming.
Yeah.
You got to think, man, like you a star football player at an HBCU. Man, boy, you living up.
Yeah, it's unreal. It's unreal.
Smirk on your face.
It's a different ball game because you're around your people and you can pick whoever you want because they all go into the games, especially those big games, those rivalry games. Oh man, don't show out.
And then we're gonna protect our people, so he ain't got those stars ain't got nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
we're gonna treat them like that versus they going to Alabama. It's like, I mean, you ain't bigger than the quarterback. They're gonna be like, so it's like five of y'all, but it's like two star players on campus. It's like, bro, like we got you. The hood got you. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You ain't got to pay for nothing. You don't have no car. You drive everybody else's car.
Yeah. The culture from Bethune-Cookman, how do you use that today in business with what you got going on?
At Cookman, every Thursday, I had a business class. Every Thursday, we had to dress up. Dress up in suit and tie. There wasn't no gym shorts. There wasn't no, whatever you want to wear. No, you had to be business professional, not business casual. That really taught you, I don't care what atmosphere you're in, no matter if they tell you it's business casual, as a black man, you come in a business professional because at the end of the day, especially in this world, you're not the same. Don't give them any reason to tell you you're not professional. Yeah. Right? That's one thing I learned about Cookman is that know who you are, but once you go in that atmosphere, you gotta come correct. They won't give you a second chance.
I've been in several interviews, man, and I go in there and I do the most, right? And I'm already into fashion. I've had several people, HR people, like, oh, you don't got dressed like that. It's just, the culture here is different. Yeah. I'm like, nah. Like, I ain't coming here like, yo, I'm going to do that for. Right. I don't stand out. I gotta go over and beyond to show you how serious I am about this situation, and you gonna respect me like that, you know? Because if I come here like y'all now, we like this, and y'all already don't look at me like this, so it's already like this. But if I come in here dressed like this, then now y'all like, oh, like he's serious, like
he's serious about this,
you know?
Yeah. You work for a very, 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 very large financial company. Now you have not a startup, but a company that was a startup. Like, what's the difference? So a person that's kind of in business, they work for a big company, they're thinking about joining a startup, or a company that was a startup. Like, I would say cons, but what are some pros?
Yeah, I would say a startup, you have more flexibility to do what you want to do and make a change, right? In a big company, I'm sorry to say, sometimes you're just a number, right? You may see a change, but for you to get that change implemented with your team, you really have to have people behind you pushing that. In a startup, I can come to Mario, we work as a startup. Hey, I think we can make this change. We get more business in. Let's do it. All right, man, let's take a look at it. Let's do what we need to do, right? Startup, you have more flexibility around that. Also, you can get bought out. You get stock options in a startup, you get bought out. She can become an instant millionaire. Yeah, and that's one thing about our culture that I know is working at, my company now is that, these guys who's been there since 2006, 2007, they said, Jared, my parents told me to go work for a startup. You can live at home. You don't got to get out of my house. Work for a startup, make your money, get bought out. Now you're instant millionaire, right? You don't have to worry about paying bills, or you're still in my house, or you don't got to worry about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I second that. I worked for a startup, so hearing you say that, it's like exactly spot on, man. And we were hoping that we were going to get bought out. We had a couple of joint ventures come in, but we thought we were going to get bought out, and we had crazy amount of stock, and I was like, man, this is going to set me out. So I'm going to just try to sit here and be still. But just like you said, the flexibility, it was no PTO. You could do what you want.
Do what you want.
Right. The CFO come to your desk and he talking to you like a dude on the street. It ain't no, hello, sir. He talking, he cussing, his face red. He going crazy, and it's just like, whoa, bro. But also, it's like, you know what? We use it to this other company. Let me implement this. This is what we doing going forward, because this worked at this company. And they like, all right, we're going to do that. Let's roll with it, because there's really nothing in place. And that's what I liked about it, because it was so much exposure. Like, you just email the CEO like, hey, I mean, no professionalism with it. It's like, hey, so this is the number, cut and dry, not professional. And coming from a big company, I wasn't used to that culture and atmosphere. So it was a big transition for me, but I just followed suit how everybody else was moving, because I didn't want to make it weird. But it definitely was an experience. And a guy told me years ago, working in a lot of big companies, he said, man, if you want that exposure to senior management, go work at a startup. Get that experience, and it'll take you places. And it definitely did. Probably all the jobs I had after that was due to that startup because of the exposure, and I had building departments and being a part of decisions that were being made and starting at the ground floor. That definitely was a cool experience. I second.
Yeah, it's a lot of passion in startups as well. Like you mentioned, T, people are working for a common cause. Nobody just coming here. Granted, it's all about money as well, but you get to a bigger corporation, it's all, man, I'm just here. When is 5 o'clock hitting? I'm out of here, man.
That's it.
And startups, people are trying to come to a common goal and make this thing work. Because if we make this thing work, we get bought out. We could.
Man, we could go. Have to talk every day. Like, hey, so want to give us some money? It's like, man, they want to just buy us out.
Yeah. So, if a person graduating from Bethune-Cookman now, would you recommend that they go to a large firm to start their career, or you think they should start off with a startup?
With the company, a bigger company, you're guaranteed. It was a guarantee, but that every 2 weeks I'm gonna get paid, right? With a startup, that may not be the case, right? We don't get funding, that may not be the case. And depending on your situation, you may need that money, right? I may need that money to pay bills because I'm living by myself, whatever the case may be. And that's one thing I noticed about working with other races at my company, is that their parents said, hey, live at home. There's no stress. If you need something from us, let us know. Everybody don't have that situation, especially people coming from HBCUs. Most of the time, maybe their parents went to college for a semester or two. They're the first people to actually graduate. So, once they get, out, their first thing, their parents say, oh, man, go get you a job. You're making money now. Come help me out.
18 years old.
Yeah, get out. One thing about a culture, we're always kicking our kids out. For what? For what?
Don't figure it out like I did, right?
Yeah. Help them out. That's how I built my house, right? My parents said, look, man, football didn't work out. It's not the end of the world, right? Get on your feet, get you a good job, and you can stay here. As long as you're doing what you need to do, then you're fine. Boom. Did that, paid off my house. I mean, half the price of my house. That was good to go.
Now, why do you think our community as a whole, like, it's a stigma? Like, same thing, like when I graduated from TSU, I stayed at the house for about a year and a half as I kind of started my practice. And it helped me out dramatically, just money in my pocket. I was focused. But, in our community, why don't you think more people do that?
I think it's our culture, right? It's like we're so worried about what people think, right? Oh, you're living at home with your parents. You don't got no money, man. People would rather be broke, barely making it, just to say I got something on my own.
Oh, my
goodness.
What? Say that again. Man.
For what? Just to say you got it? What does that mean? It's just say you brought somebody over to the house and it's your place and you're renting. At that, you're renting. It's not your own house. You're renting.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's our culture that we have to show off, right? It's all about, look at me, look what I'm doing, right? It's not about staying in your lane and buying your time until you get on your feet. It's all about now. I need it now, right? And that's where we're at. Just look at the music. I mean, we're the only culture that would go to a club, spend $800 on alcohol, right? That you can get from the store for $30 or $40 and do that every week. Not one time, but do it every other week. Just to show people, look at me. Stand on couches, look at me.
Bro, I be popping bottles too, bro.
Yeah, I'm guilty as charged.
It's a business write-off though, man, because usually when I go out, I'm with a client, you know what I'm saying? So it's a business. That's why you want to have your own business.
There you go.
You write off some of it, but yeah, now that's true. And that's our culture. Like, and we get ingrained early. So at TSU, we had, students in the one Wednesday, like you wear your best outfit. It's just, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We keep it clean. But I guess when you're corporate America, though, like you learn those values, you learn how to dress, you ball on the budget. So when it's time for that interview, you make yourself look good, respectable, so you get that job.
Yeah, because you see people I work with who are multi-millionaires. You look at them, look what they drive. You couldn't tell that. You couldn't tell that at all, right? But you got our culture. I mean, got a guy I work with. He driving with a Porsche or a Porsche SUVs, right? I know he don't got it. I know I make more than that. I just know it. But he got to have it. It looks good now. Don't get me wrong. It looks damn good.
Look good, you feel good.
Yeah, there you go. Fake it till you make it. I get it. But just to say you have it. Especially, he's married. I'm like, who are you showing out for? Your wife at home.
What would be probably one of your biggest regrets? And what would be one thing if you could change it, what would that be?
I wouldn't say a regret, because I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. And what's meant for you, what God got planned for you, you can't nobody change that. He'll get you where he needs you to be.
And you just wanna get paid. Tired of making the money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late. Yeah, Payneful Profits to help you seek change.